Yo, what is good, everybody? Man, I had a blast doing Nexus this week. It was so much fun. I think I did it for me more than you guys because it's so much fun just messing around with these things. But to top it all off, we have the Nexus 10, and I kind of wanted to see how it holds up in 2018. I haven't seen anybody do an updated review for this in a while. I mean, looking around the body, we can tell that honestly, it doesn't look that bad for a device that came out almost 6 years ago. It came out in 2012. Now, I'm not a huge fan of the bezels on the front, but the screen is nice and it's big. It's 10.1 inches. And it also has front and back cameras, which are, I mean, I wouldn't recommend using them at all, but they're there in case that one situation where you want to take like 2 megapixel photo. And what's crazy to think is that this thing actually started off getting Android 4.2, and now the latest update it had was Android 5.1. But you have to remember that since this thing is a Nexus, it still has tons of dev support, even though it is like a little bit older now. It's definitely not too old to where this thing can't support like Android 7 or 8. It has an Android 7.0 ROM out for it now. And one thing that shocked me the most about this thing is the performance is actually not that bad at all. Now, spec wise, it has a dual core processor with 2 GB of RAM. Now, with those specs, you'd think like it wouldn't be able to do anything, but honestly, it's surprisingly decent. It has an Exynos processor, and I don't know if that has something to do with the performance and how well it performs right now, but multitasking and everything that I've been doing with it is pretty good. I would rate it like a 6 out of 10, maybe a 6.5, which is surprising. You have to remember, I'm considering the age when I'm rating this thing, and I ran a benchmark on it, but it got stuck on the scoring, so I never got a score for it. But I can tell you from when it was like running through the benchmark, I don't think it did too well in the benchmarking because it couldn't load up the 3D graphics and it was choppy all over the place. But what's interesting to note though is that I don't know why, but gaming is actually very good on this thing. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with my channel, but I always play Real Racing 3 on my devices. It's just a universal game that's supported on like all platforms, and it ran almost perfectly on my Nexus 10, and I don't understand why, because it sucked on my Galaxy S7 and it sucked on my OnePlus 2. It runs fine on my iPhones, but it's just so weird that it's the same Android operating system, but I guess on TouchWiz it's slower than it is on the stock Android. I would say it's better in gaming for sure, but it's definitely not better in overall performance. And battery life is probably the best thing about this tablet. It has a 9,000 mAh battery, which is one of the highest amounts I've ever seen on a tablet. Like, this thing will last many days. It'll probably, if you make it, it'll probably last 2 weeks even. The only downside is it takes a while to charge because it is such a big battery. But even then, I'm willing to charge my devices a little bit longer if I'm able to make it last longer. It also has front-facing speakers. I don't know if I said that earlier, and they're super amazing. I just wish every single device had front-facing speakers. Now, the biggest problem for me for the Nexus 10 has to be the placements of the front camera and the bezels. The front camera is like right on top of the screen. It's just kind of weird because if you're holding a portrait, you kind of cover up that camera and it's just kind of weird right there. And the bezels honestly make it feel like it's some sort of like little childish. It reminds me of like the clamshell MacBook kind of thing. I just don't really like it too much. I really wish they kind of made it look more like the Nexus 7. Even the 2012 version of the Nexus 7 with the flat, they kind of made it a little curvy. It's kind of weird. I don't really like that too much. But that is completely subjective. Now, is the Nexus 10 worth it in 2018? Honestly, it's really hard to answer this question, but it's a yes and no for this tablet. If you don't care about what it looks like, if you plan on rooting it and ROMing it, and if you need a tablet with amazing battery life and you don't plan on doing too much with it, then this is definitely a decent choice. And these aren't that expensive anymore, so it's really not that bad of a tablet. But if you're not planning on rooting or ROMing it, and you need a device that's going to last you much longer and stuff like that, I mean, this is a hard one to recommend for something like that, especially if you need something with higher performance, and if you're a student as well, I probably wouldn't recommend this. But let me know what you think. These are just my opinions. If you guys have different opinions, leave that down in the comment section. And if you guys have any questions or answers or anything, leave that down in the comment section below. I will try my best to get back to you. I read every single comment, so maybe I'll respond, probably not, but at least you tried, Hit the like button as well. I had a blast, If you guys want to see something else reviewed, please leave that down in the comment section as well. I review tons of products, dude. It's insane. Check back on my channel too. I'm sure you guys will find something you like. Subscribe to the channel too. I love seeing new subscribers. I love your faces. Check the links down in the description as well. But more importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys, and hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.